Alright, so the first question and only question is the University of Kansas is offering a angry white male study. The course will go over the angry white male in Britain and America since the 1950s. This course will be taught by a white man. What would happen if they had an angry black man course? And do you believe that there's a double standard here?
Um,
God, it's not that.
well, I, I think it would be more interesting to have an angry black man course because I don't know. I mean, in the media especially, like angry white dudes, it's like okay, whatever. But an angry black dude is usually pretty funny in terms of like Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? But okay.
What the hell? Okay.
And that's why communism never wins. I'm not sure why.
Because it's Russia. They kill their own people. I don't care if it's communism, but if it's Russian communism, no.
If it's any communism, no. Alright, anyways, we're not talking about communism right now. We're talking about angry white boys. So, I mean, Kansas seems the prime place to have a class about angry white men, considering that their whole population basically is a bunch of white dudes. I personally wouldn't take that course though, because it just sounds like another white apologist stupid fucking class. And yeah, there totally is a double standard. It's okay to demonize white people, but if you demonize any other quote unquote race, then you're a racist and it's bad and it halts progress. So, this is...
Indeed.
It's definitely just more pandering and more white apologeticism, which... it's
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
It's furtherance of this political correctness culture that as George Carlin put it. I was actually watching a video about that earlier today where he said that political correctness is fascism pretending to be polite. And whether the straight white male or the angry white male is the majority, I mean, there have been plenty of instances where a majority race was persecuted. I'm not saying that there's any type of institutional persecution of white men. However, if society continues along the trajectory of blaming every single wrong of society on a specific gender, but even more so a specific race coupled with that gender, is just going to promote something very, very bad and very terrible if it gets out of control. And as we've seen in mostly after the 2016 election, the people that are furthering this as non-violent as they pretend to be, they do have a propensity for violence just like any other human being does. But to basically answer your question, it sounds like a complete waste of time. I guarantee it's just a bullshit gen ed class. No one's gonna take it seriously. That teacher should feel bad about making such a joke of a class that he or she, well, he's getting paid for a lot of money to do. And you know what? Like, academics can't. Not that they haven't already been infiltrated by social justice warriors and shit, but to further that narrative in the education system is a very flawed and stupid proposal. If anything needs to be impartial, it should be academics, because that's where we're supposed to be learning what's fact and what's fiction. But more often than not, you have some soy boy with a fucking man bun and a master's degree in basket weaving telling everybody that America's wrong and that capitalism should be crushed. And then you don't need a class in angry white men. Just play a fucking first-person shooter, and you'll get an angry white man on the other side, more likely. Or if it's in VR chat, for example, you find the only female in that world, she's going to be surrounded by white men, and if you try to talk to their precious waifu, guess what? You're going to get a fucking herd of angry white men that like Japanese cartoons yelling at you. So, you don't need to waste your time and money on a college course about it. And if I had a child in college, God forbid me having a child, but you know, fucking taking a class like that, I'd be like, guess what? You're paying for that class yourself, bud. I'm paying for you to actually learn some shit, not the angry white man. But you know, it doesn't surprise me. But it does surprise me that that shit's happening in Kansas, which is like, you know, a very rural, conservative-esque type place. And they have obviously some sort of soy boy up in their ranks trying to make white people look bad.
So you actually,
I mean,
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, you actually answered my second question completely.
Which was?
Nice.
No, it was why do you think there's been a recent uptick in white people hate?
Well, why? I'd say it's just, you know, don't get me wrong, people from non-white races definitely sort of have a slight disadvantage in terms of like history and stuff like that, because more than likely you're not going to have too many African American examples of old money. But to demonize, it's just easier to demonize white people because a lot of atrocities in the past have been committed by white men. But at the same point, that's the wrong way to go about it. And it's another way of just sticking it to the man, basically, of blaming this, you know, before it was this silhouetted, omnipotent, non-present man that's keeping everybody down, and now it's just everybody's desire to just blame white people for everything that's wrong. When in reality, whether you're white, black, brown, purple, blue, red, whatever,
Ugandan.
fucking, we're all human beings, and we're all just as fucked up as the next person. So to try to canalize it to one race is just fucking retarded. Yeah.
Yes.
But I'd say it's there's such an uptick in white hatred because it's just so easy to do.
Yeah, there's no real consequences.
No, there's none, because like other white people might think it's funny, or might be these white apologists, and God forbid if you speak out against it, then you're accused of being a white supremacist. And I'm sure other people that see this video are gonna fucking think that I'm racist because I'm defending whitey. But I'm not really defending anybody in a sense, because, you know, if you start blaming white people for stuff, then somebody's gonna blame another race for something else. And then it continues and it cycles and it keeps going and going and going. But people want to think that because they were genetically predisposed to having more melanin in their skin, thus being black or Mexican, that they're a different type of person altogether than any other human being on this earth. It's the same shit. Like, you know?
Yeah, I totally understand. So the last follow-up question to that would be, what was the stupidest class you've ever taken and why?
Oh, wow. Women's studies.
Oh my god.
And here's why. It's just because, you know, it didn't really further any type of progressive thought. You know, it was basically just pointing out all of these institutional discriminations and segregation that women have experienced over the years, which obviously has existed, and I mean, if you think about it, the Soviet Union legalized female voting before the United States did.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. 1917. The United States was 1922, I believe. It's funny, I'm a history major, but I'm bad with dates.
Oh man, that's not good.
I mean, but once again, you know, I'm not saying that it's invalid to have a women's studies curriculum per se. However, once again, you're just isolating yourself to one subgroup of humanity. Because whether women or man, we're still made from the same stuff. We're still just as fucked up as each other is. Don't listen to women when they tell you that men are more perverted, because I don't know if you've ever been ever infiltrated a all-girls gathering, but you ever heard them talk about sex? Holy fucking shit. It's a whole other ballgame. Guys are like, you know, guys will say, hey, I hit that, we fucked, I had sex with her. Girls will describe your dick in specific dimensions. Everything. They go into such gory detail, it's fucking horrifying.
Oh my goodness.
And honestly, you know, and they pointed it out the first time. Like, I didn't, because I just wanted to take the class, but, you know, 3/4 of the class were dudes, and, you know, they would ask us why we decided to take this class, and the teacher's like, raise your hand if you're a guy and you just took this class to pick up chicks. And, like, no one raised their hand, obviously, because that's dumb. Plus, why would you try to go for some third-wave feminazi?
Come here.
Oh my God.
That's just asking for it.
But otherwise, yeah, that's the only question I got. I see Lego Man said something about he's coming. Is he behind me? What the heck?
Is that a custom avatar?
Is it?
Custom avatar? Is that a custom avatar?
Is that a custom avatar?
Is that a custom avatar?
Custom avatar?
Is that a custom avatar?
Is that a custom avatar?
Is that a custom avatar?
Am I too loud? Am I too loud? Is that a custom avatar?
Is that never mind, I guess we can ban you join them.
One of us. One of us. One of us.
Oh my goodness. Oh no.
One of us.
No.
One of us.
Is that a custom avatar?
Alright, the fan's going back on, Pete.